What up, though? Welcome to another episode of Notoriously Opinionated. It's your man, Negus to God, aka Scrap Low, aka Momo Amuate and Bonisi, aka I got a bunch of them. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm telling you, like 100, and keep it a buck. One of these days, if enough people ask for it, I am going to tell you what each one of my monikers, names, and my one appellation, what it all means. I'm gonna have to do that one of these days on AM Opinionated, and then when everybody wake up, they'll see it later, right? But super excited about tonight's episode. I got some heavy hitters on here tonight. You know what I'm saying? For this particularly intriguing episode of Notoriously Opinionated. This is the entrepreneurs episode. We got some great stories. We got some great information. We got some great knowledge and wisdom that's going to be passed on. We're not selling none of it. This is part of the building of everybody's dream. And so this is going to be free, but the drive, the hustle, the sweat, the tears, all that comes sold separately. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to give you this part of it. And then the next part of it is all up to you. So to introduce my esteemed panel tonight, I have the CEO of Fat Milk Coffee, my dude Twan. What's happening?
What's up? What's up? How y'all doing?
I got the CEO of man, I don't know which business to start with of yours. And for real, that goes for kind of both of y'all. Johnny, Lamont, which one y'all want to claim first? Like, I mean, are we rocking with the J Store? Or are we rocking with?
Are we
rocking with the barbershop?
Scope, Second Chance Organized People in Power, and I am the owner of JLW Group LLC, which is the J Store online. You can find our products in Walmart, Etsy, Amazon, eBay, or you can visit www.thejstoreonline.com. We've had thousands of happy customers, so you can be one of them. Let's plug that real quick.
Man, listen. The cold thing about it, this is the entrepreneur show, so there is no such thing as a shameless plug. Like I'm giving everybody the opportunity to plug their business. I want you to. You know what I'm saying? I need Twan to go get one of them cartons of fat milk and
look at his shirt. I like him. So he is a consummate entrepreneur. Anybody who walks around with the name of their product on their shirt, I like that man.
Bro, I promise you, had I not been caught up in other things, I would have I'd have my carton of Fat Milk Coffee sitting right here. You know what I'm saying?
And I drink my product too.
I'm already here.
My wife said this is the best. She said she sent me a text from work one morning. She drank some. She said, "Oh my God, this coffee is so." She really likes it. I mean, she's a fan now. She's all in it. She's in it.
Yeah, coffee is the one avenue, but it's the whole approach to marketing a product and a brand for me. Because I also have a creative production studio, and I used to be a creative director at Leo Burnett. So I come from marketing and advertising. So part of that is storytelling through a product. And now I'm doing it for other brands and other companies as well, from small business to even agency work to just brands in general that want to communicate to consumers. So that's also something I'm doing through my Cap True LLC. But yeah,
when you gonna do something for me, man, for the barbershop, man, for the off the top barbershop, man.
Hold on, man. Can we know what your businesses are? So we got Off the Top Barbershop. We got the real estate company, man. Go let the people know what you got going on, man.
Man, McIntyre's Property Group, right? Sold our first house. That's in the books, right? Then we got Headlines Barber Academy. Come get fresh. Home of the $6 haircuts. It's all good. See, I'm trying to do my pitch like my man did, but I ain't got he got that thing like he sell that thing, but yeah. Then we got what else we got? What our name? Off the Top Barbershop, Headlines Barber Academy. Oh, Miracle of Venices, man. That's the big deal. We doing big things in 2021 with Miracle of Innocence, man. MiracleOfInnocence.org. Anybody want to get involved with that? We helping innocent people come home, man. Innocent men and women come home, and that's our mission. That's what we do. But that's what I do all day, every day. But that's my main thing. I know I'm missing something else, but
I know that's why, man. That's why you gonna call me, man. I'm gonna help you put together an org chart that map out all these different organizations and the sectors that they in. That way, everybody gonna know what you doing. You'll never forget it.
yeah, man, because I don't know what I'm doing, man. I'm just freestyling. Like Scrap, I know what he's talking about when he say he just start working and putting it together. You just got to work and put it together the best way you know how, man. Yeah.
Now the
I've been
cold thing
doing it.
is, you may have just with the last one you mentioned, you may have just stumbled upon some co-collaborators, because what you talking about doing with the last company, what was the name of it? Were you trying to get men home?
Miracle of Innocence, man. I got my
Miracle of what?
Miracle of Innocence.
Miracle of Innocence. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Miracle of Innocence. If you want to check it out, anybody can just go to miracleofinnocence.org and see what we're doing and see what's going on with us.
So that sounds like it's this company in Kansas City
You talking
that
about
gives
Daryl
second.
Burton?
No.
Absolutely. Me and Daryl, yeah.
It's
Daryl's a co-founder. I'm a co-founder. Me and Daryl started it. We started it.
Yeah, I
the
know. He came to me for help. Like I told, I'm out here. Like when people think of organizations and business, like people look me up.
Man, where you been, man? I've been I've been getting it though. I've been learning it, but it's been the hardest of ways, man. I've been getting it though, you know.
Now here's the thing: the company I'm talking about is talking about giving second chances to people and empowering them to do different things. You know what I'm saying? And that sounds kind of something like what you talking about doing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Johnny, that organization sound familiar to you?
The one to give away money, gift.
No. The one I'm talking about giving second chances to people and empowering them.
Give a
Scope,
second chance.
fool. Scope.
Oh, yeah, I understand.
Hey man,
Man, he got so many businesses. He can't even keep track
I
of this.
can't.
Yes.
He
Hey
lost
man,
one. He like,
Second
I
chance,
can't put it no more
organized.
on the T for you than
Second chance, organized people, empowered, in the youth programs and the voice platform to change local, whether it's state or local legislation or guiding the youth, or in this case, we'll be doing some voting activities or whatever. So yeah, a second chance, organized people and empowered scope.
I can't put it
My
on the
fault.
T for you, no
I'm
doubt.
thinking you talking about a different organ. Like I'm like, who is you talking about?
It's a different organization that gives second chances to people and empowers them.
I know, right? I missed that whole thing. Like that. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Hey man, I ain't gonna judge you, bro.
You
But
know, I'll tell you this, man, and I'm sure both everybody can speak to this, right? Running the business is very time consuming, right? I talked to one of my friends who owned a very large electronics company, and he ended up selling it for an undisclosed. And anytime my friend said I sold it for an undisclosed amount of money, I know
that's a
what
lot.
that means. It
That's a
was a
lot,
lot.
man.
it
That's
was
a
a
lot.
lot.
And he told me something that I'll never forget. He said, once you run a business, all you think about is business. All you think about is that business. And so it becomes, that thing becomes primary in your life, and a lot of things become secondary. And it becomes one of those time consuming things to where you can be talking to somebody in a random conversation, but really, like me, I'll be talking, but I'm really thinking about inventory and inventory management and processes and automated workflows and stuff like that. And I'll be like, yeah, but really I'm thinking about something else.
Hey, I promise you, my wife talks about me all day, every day. You see my road, I work, but I look like I don't do nothing, man. I literally work. But look, it's not work to me. I love doing it. So it's not work to me. everybody used to ask me, man, like, what's your talent? What's your gift, right? I used to be like, I'm a barber. I cut hair. I was good at that. Never been taught how to do it. I was always good at cutting hair, right? But my main thing was always hustling. But I've always hustled for a purpose. You get what I'm saying? Like, my hustling was always for somebody else. I've always had another reason or purpose in mind. It wasn't just for me. And it always worked my whole life since I was a kid, right? So I just applied it to a different stuff, man. You know how I go. I changed the formula. It's the same thing, but I love what I'm doing now. It's different. I love it, man. And I love building my team. My team, like I live in Arizona, but my team, my business is running in Kansas. I'm talking about through a pandemic. We great, but we only great because I've been building my team. I invest all what I got in my squad. Now my squad is good. Brothers Keeper, that's why Brothers Keepers are formed. And that's why we've been building on that too. So we creating bosses. Like I was telling you last time, Scrap, we had a conversation. We was talking about no one works for me. I don't have workers. I just don't have workers. I understand the employment situation that people have to work. I get it. I have employees, but I would never call them employees. They don't work for me. They're own bosses. So we teach people how to be entrepreneurs versus teaching them how to work for other people. Your time is, I feel like my time is valuable. So I want my time to be my own. I want everybody else to put themselves in position to work for themselves and not work for other people. Doesn't mean that we don't need employees. It just means I would never work with an employee. I would never work with somebody. My thing low. I would never work around somebody where you working under me and all that. I'm looking. That's not my thing. I would never do that. So I work with everybody. So if I'm going into partnership with you, I'm making sure that you have something invested in what we doing. Not just I have something invested in, and you just no. You got to have something. And we doing this, you got to have something invested in. So I'll start a business with you. We can start an LLC together, 50-50. No problem.
Hey, so since we're talking about businesses, we're talking about we've spoke about some of the the pitfalls, like Johnny said, some of the things that you end up devoting to the business. Like once you start a business, like your whole life becomes consumed with the business, right? Now, I know with starting Breakout, there's a whole lot of things that are going on that I am completely obsessed about, you know. Uh, but here's my question. My question to everybody is, or to the both of y'all, is what advice would you give an up and coming entrepreneur that you didn't know starting out that you would like them to know starting out, so that they don't have as hard of a time or as tough of a time uh, starting up their corporation or starting up their LLC or starting up their business as some of the things you may have run into?
Home life, man. Before you set out to do anything in this world, man, this is just, I learned this the hard way, right? Make sure your home life is good. Don't ever set out on a journey a path to do something if where you got to lay your head is not good, man. That's going to interfere with your business. And you cannot ever think you're going to chase money and chase women. Bad. People do it, man. People like to party. But I'm not saying women is your thing. It could be anything. You can't party and do that too. Can't do all that stuff. You got to really devote your time and energy to what you're doing. And since you know me, since I know I'm giving and devoting a lot of time to what I'm doing, my son, we started a hoodie company with him. My wife, she got Vibrant Expressions with her. My oldest son, he trades online. He's gonna be so we building like the Lines Empire over here, like Empire up here, right? We got the Lines Dynasty over here. So we got like Andre upstairs on the computer. So we got a team within my household where we good, where we generate income. I got vending machines for my sons and my barbershops down there in Kansas. So I'm teaching them how to. So it's like a network of us doing good in our household, so we can venture out. And I ventured out. So I started at home to make sure everybody good. We good at home, and then we branched out. Now my team is good. Now I'm focusing more on my team. Now I'm good, and now my team is good. Now my team is focusing on their teams. We just growing, man. And I love it, man. So I focus on home first, man, and
So
then branch
start with
out.
home and then spread out. Once home is good, then branch out.
Yeah, you need your home. My wife, man. The
Gotta have
thing
that
is,
home
me and my
base.
wife, when I started doing all this stuff, I had Olympus Property Management. That was my first company. Failed miserable. You know why? My time and my energy wasn't devoted to it because my home life was so messed up, man. And it was only messed up because of me. I just came home. I didn't know what to expect, what to do. I didn't know what to do, man. And my wife was there and she was supporting me. My wife was amazing, supporting me, but I just still felt weird, man. I felt out of place. I was just insecure. I was going through all kind of crap. I wasn't thinking about business. I wasn't thinking about none of that stuff. So because I went through the stuff I went through, I say now, if you just get your business, I mean your home life good, everything, your business is a secondary. My business is secondary to my wife, man. That's a secondary thing, man. All that stuff is secondary because it can be replaced. My wife can't. So I devote and I develop a system for us, man, where we good in here. This is our stuff, and then outside of this, we build. But first, our fortress is around us, man.
All right, that's what's up, Johnny. What
Yeah.
about you, man? What advice would you give an up and coming entrepreneur based off either mistakes that you made with your first business or just things that you learned from your first business?
For my first business.
Your very
I was like
first
in
one.
1953, man.
Real.
This man had 1,900 business.
Like, one of the things that I talk about with my very, very first company is that to reinvest your money within your organization. So I started an organization here in Kansas City, and it was successful. And so the first thing I went out and did was bought a $48,000 car.
Yeah.
And man, I was buying big screen TVs and jewelry and this. And what I forgot to do was reinvest in my
Invest.
business
Right.
because I figured I'm making so much money. I'll just go out here and do X, Y, Z and go buy this and go buy that. And I remember at one point one of my businesses was like, because I owned a cleaning company for 7 years at first, and they were like, we need our carpet clean, and I had to really dig down and say, huh, I'm driving around this $48,000 car, but I'm scrounging up money to buy a carpet cleaner to clean these people's carpet to make more money. And to me, that just was nonsense. And so that's one of the things that I learned.
How old? That was young stuff though. How old were you then?
Oh man,
You was a
like
young guy.
24,
Yeah,
25.
so it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I was young, and so all the money that I blew is really money that should have been reinvested into the organization to grow the organization. Because when you start to talk about, there's only a couple of ways or a couple of strategies that organizations use, and and there's only certain ways that you can compete. Like you compete on cost. You can employ a growth strategy, right? You can find a niche market and all of these things. And, I'm competing on cost, but I'm spending all the money.
Right.
So yeah, that was something that I learned early on when I owned my first business. Was like, oh, probably shouldn't have spent all this money on this car. Maybe I should have spent some on my business.
And reinvest some of that. Now, check this out. So, have you heard? So, first off, let me backtrack a little bit and wish everybody a happy last day of Trump Day. You know what I'm saying? So, this inauguration, they inaugurated a new president. Trump is finally out. They say he didn't leave till this morning, though. Like most presidents are out of the White House, like they are no longer living in the White House like maybe a week or so before inauguration. This fool stayed in there till this morning. He was talking about he wasn't leaving last night, right? Until they threatened to take away his lifetime Secret Service detail, and then he got his ass up out of there. But but so you got this new stimulus package that's going to be supposedly $1,400. Now, what I've believe I've come to understand as a part of this particular stimulus package, Joe Biden plans on including a federal mandate that changes the minimum wage and kicks it up to $15 an hour. Right now, my question to you two entrepreneurs is this: uh, when you are starting a new business and you plan on hiring workers, you plan on hiring employees, you plan on training bosses, right? You got to pay them. So if the federal minimum wage goes up, depending on where you are, $3, $4, $5, is that a feasible thing to sustain a young small business?
Huh? So you my minimum wage? If I got paid minimum wage, is going to sustain? What you mean?
Yeah, that's business? I mean, that's a great question.
I'm trying to figure out, like, you talking about if I.
So right now, what is the minimum wage right now? Like $10 in Missouri?
I don't know. It's like $17 up here.
12. It's like 11 something. It just went up on the January 1st.
It might be like 11.83.
Something like that.
Something like that. So it's under 12. It's in the high 11s, 11.80 something, but it's not quite 12. Well, if you're,
no, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Well, I'm explaining so bro clearly understands my question.
No, I was just saying that. What do you mean? Yeah, explain to me what you mean.
If you only thought you was gonna have to pay your people $12 an hour and you end up having to pay them $15 an hour, do you think that is going to be good for your business?
He would have to answer that. Okay, I can't. Okay, I see.
Thusly, do you believe that this is a good? I mean, here's the totality of my question. A, you got to understand that, like I say at the end of every show, Corona is not killing just the population of the world; it's killing businesses. You know what I'm saying? It's businesses that's going down.
It depends on what. So again, I'm a.
Is that a feasible thing to kick up the minimum wage to 15 during a pandemic?
He owns a barbershop, and so that industry is particularly different. My uncle owned a barbershop. You have people, you can teach them to be leaders. They may pay a booth fee, but that's completely different, right? So which the question you're asking is for really people who have hourly employees and who are on a growth strategy because they've just started their business. And so I can answer that question.
What if you own a restaurant?
No, so so again, a restaurant is it depends if we're talking like since COVID is happening or if COVID wasn't happening. In the
specifically, very specifically, that's what I was trying to say.
So during COVID, it's detrimental, and even the minimum wage increase that was done even in Missouri, and it's going to be done across the nation, will, especially during COVID-19, be detrimental to people who can't afford it, because historically the wages have been. Let's take a waiter, waitress. You make $2.13 or $2.73, and then the rest of it is on whatever the customer tips you. And so if you now have to pay that person a substantial amount, whether there's tips or not, that hurts. And when we're talking about razor thin margins, I mean, you got to start thinking like, you might sell a hamburger, and when it's all said and done, that hamburger, you might make 50 cents off that hamburger. But if you got to pay your additional quarter to this worker, that 50 cent now went to 25. And that happens, you got to think like Subway. And what people don't understand about Subway and why Subways are, we done went from
4 to 3 to 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And so you think about organizations like Subway and even not even just wage increases, the cost, the increased cost of products, and then combined with marketing, a lot of Subways went out of business because they simply you selling a $5 foot long that costs $6.75. So imagine if you then got to pay this your Subway worker the extra $3. Now that sandwich is costing upwards of $8, and you selling it for $5. And it's good that everybody's singing the song $5 foot long. It's catching on, but you going broke, and eventually that that organization disappears. So whoever was working there is nobody's working anymore because that particular organization can no longer sustain itself. So there's a good and bad with, like, I understand the poverty level in America and increasing wages. I really understand that. And there's a fight. And there's a fight. Even, I work at an organization who fights for minimum wage and people who work at McDonald's. And, that's great and all. But I got to think, if you operating on if you got to roll up to McDonald's and the person that says, "Welcome to McDonald's, man, take your orders, make it $17," you got to start thinking like, and why does my 99-cent burger now cost $14?
Exactly. Now, that's another point that I was making in another show leading up to this show. So, and I still never looked it up. It's a show, I think it's called Time Bandits, is what I think the movie is called. It's a movie that got Justin Timberlake in it, right? It's a Justin Timberlake movie to where the currency is time, right?
I've seen that before.
Is it called Time Bandits?
I can't remember, but I've seen it before.
Anyway, so
the chick runs out of time in the end and she dies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Dies running, right? So there's a part in the movie where him and the chick rob this time bank, right? They rob the time bank, they go down to this shelter, and they start just giving away free time or free money.
Oh, in time.
In time. Good look, bro. In time, right? So they start handing out money, right? And they, in their mind, they are doing a good deed. They handing out time to people who don't have it, right? So then what happens? That $5 foot long turns into a $15 foot long because everything has to inflation. Everything inflates due to this new influx of money that just hit the system. That's the exact same thing that happens in our world. You know what I'm saying? With real Federal Reserve notes. That's one of the ways inflation happens. When a new influx of money comes in, it don't just come in and things stay the same. Prices got to go up.
Yeah, and so if we look at gross domestic product or how the feds operate, especially like I used to study it when Greenspan was the chair of the Fed, and it's one of those things to where some things sound good in nature, like it sounds great, but in practicality, it's not so great because we in America enjoyed low prices, right? That's why we take our ass on Amazon. That's why we take our ass to Walmart. That's why we do all of these things. Now suddenly, if there's an increase in the average cost of something, then we gonna be up in arms. Like, damn, milk was $2.99 yesterday. Now that shit $5.99. What happened? Well, that's because we had to pay all the grocery store workers an extra $5 an hour, and there's 100 of them. And so that's $500 an hour. You times that times 40 hours a week, and we start talking about some real motherfucking money. And so even in my business, and I make decent money through my store. and so I primarily ship products. This ain't even talking about wage increase in that amount. The USPS was like, we gonna raise it between 3 and 5%. Nigga, I started looking at the numbers like, wait a minute. I mean, if y'all raise it 3 to 5%, I got two choices: to eat the cost or pass the cost off.
Exactly.
Now,
and what do most businesses do when they are faced with those same two choices?
what I'm about to do, pass that cost off.
Pass the cost off. You damn skipping.
Listen, I want to run a successful organization and employ people. Now, when these price hikes come for whatever the reason they are, in order for me to stay in business, I have to pass some of them costs off. And whether I pass that off to the consumer or whoever I pass that cost off, I mean, that is what it is. So do I want to go around and hire people and have to pay them $20 an hour? No, I do not. Now I have this duality thing, like in order to keep good employees, you got to pay them a good wage. But if you in your first or second year, you take Facebook for example. So Facebook started, and there's controversy on how it started, whether he stole the idea from them two brothers or not. That's not my concern. My concern is when it was a startup and they were looking for rounds of funding from either venture capitalists or investor angels or whatever the case may be. What they did is what many startups do is like, hey, I can't pay you $80,000 a year. What I can do is pay you $20,000 and give you the rest in stock options.
Right.
And either you gonna take that or you not.
Take it or leave it.
And so the people who took it, what happened to them? They became millionaires.
Right.
And so, it's really one of those things to where if you want to own a successful business and it's in the startup cost, unless you're I don't even if you come from a wealthy family or whatever the fuck the case is, like those costs become I'm looking at the numbers the other day and I'm selling some shit on Amazon and honestly, when I say the margins is razor thin, I really mean that shit. I'm talking about I've made 10 cents on a product. Like I'm talking about profit 10 cents. And you gotta think, well, do I kill it? Or do I not kill it? Do I continue to sell this? Do I not sell it? What's the benefits? When you do a cost benefit analysis, is this beneficial to sell? What's the opportunity cost on this? And like it really becomes this back and forth thing. And then when you got external forces like wages or USPS or FedEx or somebody increasing costs, you got to start to look at that shit like, man, this shit. It sounds good when when on TV saying it like we're gonna get you $20 an hour, and it's like okay, that's cool and all, but your $20 an hour combined with the USPS increase in shipping costs, and then the feds fuck around and hike up the rate. Suddenly we closing the doors and you ain't got no motherfucking job.
Right. Now, I'm gonna say this, and then I want to get to Bro's statement about gentrification. But now that's a real good one. Now I'm gonna tell you what, but that goes off into what me and you was talking about before we went on air about I start studying about the history of Kansas City too, or just the history of Missouri. But then you delve in a little deeper in the kind of racist history of Kansas City, Missouri. But then so I look at it like this, right? It's like I've always said, even before I came home, I always said that some of the best entrepreneurs in the world are going to be dudes who sold dope, that turned their life around and decided that instead of selling dope, they're gonna become entrepreneurs. Some of the best businessmen in the world were criminals. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, white collar. I don't give a damn. I'm not saying that you had to have a pistol to be a criminal. If you was a criminal and you was committing white collar crimes, you're still a criminal. You know, it was still against the law. Anyway, my point is, it was a lot of dudes who did not understand the cultivation of, say, even principles like supply and demand. You know what I'm saying? But these are the same dudes that I saw perpetuate supply and demand in the joint. Here's what I mean by that. They didn't realize that supply and demand was, if you knew you was the only one with tobacco in the joint, right? And you had, say, 100 pouches, right? Are you going to put all 100 pouches out there all at once? Because if you put 100 pouches out there, then you might have to sell them for, say, because it's 100 of them out there, it's a bunch of them out there, so everybody can just come get them. You know, you may have to sell them for, say, like $25 a pouch, right? Versus if you put 20 of them out there, and those are the only 20 on the whole compound, you can sell them joints for $100 a pouch, right? And then next week or next couple of weeks, put out 20 more, and then put out 20 more. That's supply and demand, right?
Somewhat.
In very, you know, when you break it down to the simplest of fractions, you know, there is a high demand, and if there's a lot of product, then the price got to be low, especially if somebody else got some, right?
Yeah, and that yeah, and so that there's a couple of things to that you can fluff out of that that's really relevant in today's business world, right? So you've got to first look off at why are people who are very successful in business have some of the same traits and characteristics of people who have been incarcerated, or who and the biggest thing is risk, right? So the thing about it is, entrepreneurs and people who sell dope or whatever they do, I don't care, armed robbery, whatever, you have this thing about risk aversion. Like, so you sit there and think, like, what's the risk? I'm gonna fail, right? I'm gonna go to jail. What's the risk? And if you have a very low risk aversion, you're gonna go ahead and try that, because most of America want to be safe, secure. They'll go work for somebody for 20, 30 fucking years and hope to God they got some kind of retirement pension, 401k, whatever the fuck the case is, because that offers a safety. Other people, on the other hand, is like, you know what? Yeah, I think I should do something different.
My version of risk is low.
Exactly. And so it sounds to mainstream America, this shit sound like what you're doing. You gotta listen, and it ain't just look at Jeff Bezos from Amazon. This motherfucker went and said, listen, I'm gonna start a company online that sells fucking books. Now, back then, people had to be like, bro, you finna do what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna sell. And he only had 10 books. Yeah, I'm gonna take my parents' life savings, go in their garage, my nigga, and I'm about to start an internet company when there wasn't really no internet. And you got to think, this is after the .com bubble had busted and people wasn't even fucking with that .com shit no more. Mm-hmm. So, bro, you about to sell 10 books on the internet, bro?
Right.
Like, what you doing? And somehow, to him, this shit made sense. To other people, it's like, bro, you taking a hell of... Even now, my mama was like, you took $10,000 and did what? I said, no, I started an internet company. So you're not working for nobody. And I kept telling her, nah, mama. So you ain't got no schedule, like you ain't getting no paycheck. Nah, mama. How you doing? Because she looks at risk like you shouldn't do that. Because most of us are taught that, you know, you get up, you go to where you do these things, and then hopefully in fucking 50 years, you know, you'll be able to retire. right? And,
That's insanity to me, bro. That's insane.
Yeah,
You
and
talk about the definition of insanity. That's what you just said is my definition of insanity.
Yeah, and that's mainstream America. And then and to go on the pouches of what you're talking about, the thing is like we it's I don't even know if to use the word unfortunate. We don't have we didn't have access to resources, education, and other people. I'll tell you that Cecil Rhodes. If you ever look this dude up, his name is Cecil Rhodes, and he discovered these kimberlite mines and shit, and that's what produces diamonds. And eventually it becomes the De Beers Diamonds Company. And they hoard all the diamonds. And over there, it's legal. Like here, you'd have an antitrust lawsuit like they did AT&T back in the day. And they continue to try to sue Google and Facebook for violation of antitrust laws, right? And so over in other countries, it's legal. And so Cecil Rhodes founds this thing, De Beers. And then they come out with this statement. And it's exactly what you're talking about. It's not tobacco pouches, it's diamonds, right? And so they say, oh, diamonds is this, diamonds is girl, diamonds is this, and diamonds is this rare object. What they're not telling people is, motherfucker, we got warehouses upon warehouses of diamonds. We, though, however, are only going to release a very small portion of diamonds to a specific number of buyers. And that is why we're going to give off the impression that these motherfuckers are rare, and hence we inflate the fucking price.
But they over there in Africa throwing around diamonds like they rocks.
Yeah. So there's a plentiful supply of diamonds. Tanzanite is actually more rare than a diamond. And Tanzanite is substantially lower cost than a diamond, and it's because they've done such a they're that guy who had 100 pouches and released 5. Like it's dry, you niggas want to smoke, $100. And once the 5 is gone, you release another 5. Like, ooh, I got 5 more to the highest bidder.
Right.
Up. And that's what they've done, and throughout history in business, that's what's happened. And they came up with a name and call it a niche market, right? They try to tell you things like, oh, this is rare, this is valuable, and a motherfucker might have 100,000 of them sitting in the warehouse. You don't know. And so you just like, oh shit, let me get one. And that's where terms like limited release came from. Like, limited release, what the fuck are you talking about? It's good business. It just is.
Now let me hit on this De Beers thing real quick before we get to bro's statement. It's just a quick question. I don't know why these two are in my head like they're blended, but wasn't he the dude that was getting the blood diamonds from
all of them back then? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I thought De Beers, I thought that name rang a bell. He was getting the blood diamonds from Sierra Leone, wasn't he?
Yeah,
okay.
And back then, when they formed this syndicate, this diamond syndicate, as it's called, people weren't. I mean, even Nike was in South Africa during apartheid. I mean, none of this shit. It wasn't until there was like a shift or what they would call a paradigm shift in people's thinking to think that this shit is wrong.
Right.
But before that, people were thinking like, well, fuck it, like it's a diamond. I want one in my ear. I want to buy my wife a diamond. I want to do all of these things until
I want them in my teeth.
There was this paradigm shift in people's thinking like, oh, this shit is wrong. Because technically, I mean, even black people, every shoe you bought back then from Nike was produced in South Africa where they was oppressed. Right. And nobody said shit. Goodyear tires was down there. Like, nobody was saying shit until somebody said something. Like, oh, this is what y'all doing, and then it's like, oh, no, we don't. That's not what our this is not what our values stand for. Right. And then for their fucking company. But before that, nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah, they mission statement didn't say nothing about no kind of equality, no kind of giving a damn about morality, and none of that. You know.
No, listen, and people don't even understand this. Motherfuckers shop at Walmart. And so Walmart has factories in China. This is how fucked up Walmart is. Walmart will say, we'll provide you a job. We're going to pay you $1.13 an hour, right? We're going to stick you in this fucking factory. You got to work 12, 15 fucking hours a day. And this is how cold-blooded they are. In order to work at our factory in Walmart, though, you have to stay in Walmart housing and pay us fucking rent. What? Wait, huh? So you
Yeah,
mean to tell me?
that's prison.
Right.
That's prison.
So, but here in America, it's well, at least they got low prices. Fuck.
Right.
So nobody really gives a fuck what happens to these other human beings on the other side of the world. All they know is, man, Walmart got some low. Did you check that Walmart price? Is it lower at Walmart? That's
Yep.
what fuckers care about.
That's it.
And that's business.
All right, so let's get into this real estate real quick. So bro put up a comment. Gentrification, and an example of gentrification on the housing market, to where a house that costs $500 in the hood now costs $1,800 in the hood. So I'm gonna speak my piece on it, and then pass it to you. So from my understanding, I'm only speak about Kansas City, even though it happens in most cities and states around the nation, right? So I know in Kansas City, anywhere from every 80 to 100 years, the city starts to shift to where originally, if I am not mistaken, it was down north that was the affluent part of Kansas City, which is why you got a lot of the cobblestone stuff down there. That to where back in the early 1900s, late 1800s, that was the nice part of the city. The south side of Kansas City was the slums and where it was fucked up, and that was kind of like the ghetto, right? Then it started to shift, right? Then it started to shift to where people start doing exactly what's going on now. So the hood is down north now, right? People are starting to buy up property in the hood where, like bro said, it was $500 and now it's $1,800. But and on top of that, they calling that 1,800 affordable housing, right? Affordable housing, but they're right. It is affordable housing. However, affordable to who, right? Affordable to the people who are down there right now that's struggling with that $500 a month, or affordable to the ones that they want to move in and pay, say, and I know he meant buying the house for 1,800 to 500, but I'm talking about rent, you know, renting places, lofts down there, lofts down north, to where they are forcing all of the people who cannot afford that pricing of housing out, so that the people that they really want to be down there can move back down there, so that when they move all this stuff, because they've been talking about moving, I forget which stadium, they was talking about moving one of the stadiums downtown, just because it makes no sense to have Chief Stadium and Royal Stadium somewhere where you got to go to damn near freaking Independence to see the Chiefs and the Royals, when main access it would be to have it at a downtown location. So I think that is what they got in the works in the future, is to have either or both Arrowhead and freaking Royal Stadium to be at a downtown location, have that downtown complex down there, and every surrounding area around it be affluent housing, and kick everybody that can't afford it on out, and which is gentrification, and then redline anybody who may have the money but aren't part of the clique.
Yes, and so that Kansas City Star building downtown is, I think, one of the locations that they were referring to moving the stadium down there, and to them it makes sense. The Sprint Center is already down there. back in the day, I mean, they retaking over Crossroads, and they're going to continue to push out probably up till 31st Street. Because that's what they're doing now, and so, yeah. So I'll tell you this: I was driving on Truce on 50 something in Truce, and one of my friends, who's a director of the university down there on Rockhurst, because Rockhurst sits right on Truce, which essentially is the quintessential dividing line in Kansas City, and she says, "You won't believe this." I'm like, "What?" And she said, "Come, get in the car." And I'm like, "Where the fuck is we going?" So we shoot around the corner. Mind you, we on 50-something in Truce, bro. 54, 52nd or some shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I hops out the car. She like, "Look," I hop out the car. I said, "Is this a new?" I said, "This used to be the one house." And she's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Look at the price." Listen, nigga, why that house was $300,000. And I was like, I said, first of all, what the fuck was wrong with them? And so, what I understand about when we start talking about migration of people and gentrification and things like that, you got to really look at why these type of things occur, right? And so, when we're talking about what a house used to cost in the hood versus what it costs now, it's really one of those things to where, there was this exodus of white flight. And so, yes, back even when I worked on the mansion, the Sarah Rector mansion, which is on 18th and Euclid, and that work still continues because she was the richest black a lady in Kansas City at the time, a black millionaire, and helped build up 18th and Vine and shit like that. And and when we think about our mansion being down there, it was affluent people down there, and then there was the exodus, and white people moved, and then Kansas City intentionally designed some shit, including J.C. Nichols, and white people hype up the plaza, and J.C. Nichols. Really, what he did was divide the city into the haves and the have-nots. Like, you folks here, and us rich white people, we gonna stay on this side, and we gonna keep this segregated because there's no way I want to live by you, right? And so, and you can tell that because his house, Russell Stover's, all of these people's houses is within the same area, and it looks nice. But what ends up happening is that as there's these migrations of people, then some of that land that they once vacated, they want that shit back. And it becomes, and all it takes is some shit becomes abandoned. Somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I'm gonna buy this shit and turn it into this." And once that one person does it, they all gonna do it because they see, because in the end, it's capitalism.
Right.
I want the fucking money. And in order to get the money and have people move in here, I need these niggas to move the fuck out. And how do you get niggas to move the fuck out? Right? You got to start thinking about how do I get the black population or people of color in these spaces to move out? Hey, if I buy half the block, fix that shit up, look, the property value gonna go up. It's gonna go up so much. And you remember this was in the Kansas City Star. The property value goes so much when tax time comes around, motherfucker can't afford to pay that tax.
Exactly.
So what happens is, and I don't know, people have made a whole business out of this shit. I started to do it back in the day, but I decided not to. Once you go so long without paying your taxes, fuck if you can afford it or not, that shit goes to the county. And then every so often, the county comes out on the city steps and auctions your shit off to a motherfucker who can afford it. And that particular person buys it, and they can send you a bill, and it normally is 3 times. I think legally in Missouri, you can charge the person 3 times whatever the tax amount is. So, bro, if you owe $5,000, I send you a letter saying, "Hey, you can buy your house back for $15,000." And you like, "Shit, I didn't even have the $5,000 to pay the damn tax. How the fuck I got $15,000?"
Exactly.
Like, I know you don't. So I'm gonna take your house, and at some point, I'm gonna take all these motherfucking houses, and we're gonna continue to push you out further and further. And that's how you notice all people of color live in specific neighborhoods, because when the migration starts to happen again, people who have the resources are going to push you the fuck out. And honestly, if you don't have the resources, there's really, I mean, relying on the city to do something, you fucking fooling yourself. Like, there's no real recourse because all of that shit is legal, right? And the people who have the resources, so originally 71 Highway was supposed to go over there by where Warwick Parkway and shit is. And it would have cut through the plaza and on. They had enough resources to stop that. No, you take that to the black neighborhoods and you put that highway over there with them. You don't do that. We're not going for that, right? And they have the political clout and the financial resources to make that fight. Those the people over there, they didn't have them resources. They didn't have that money to do that. And so what do you, next thing you know, like, damn, they tearing down my motherfucking house to build a highway, and that highway sucks to me. I hate 71 highway.
Now I'm tell you what, it's two things to what you said. Number one, my family was a victim of that. Like when I was a kid, and I, you know, not a kid like 13, 14. I'm talking about I'd already left, you know, and that's when research was buying up all the buying up a whole lot of property in the 50s and the 60s, right? Especially in the 60s down the street from research, right? So they bought up just like you said, people that couldn't pay the property tax. You know, my grandparents' home, my mom couldn't pay the property tax on it. That's exactly what they did to her, you know. And it wasn't until some years later when I learned the law that I realized that I could have got that house, and I, you know, for real, not get the house, but the land at least, because there's nothing on it. They tore the house down years ago, and but there was a way to get the land back, you know, because it's some other stuff. But yeah, so my family was actually victims of that, number one. And number two, the other underlying reason, which is really not an underlying reason, is really obvious and blatant, but a lot of people just don't know the racist history of Missouri and Kansas City. You know, Missouri was a freaking Confederate state, you know.
Oh yeah.
Missouri,
Kansas is still a very racist.
It is still a very racist city.
And so when people, and again, even so, it's just the shows about entrepreneurialism. You got to think about it like this, right? So when you hear the term property management groups, right, those are the people who come into the neighborhoods and buy the property, right? And if it's and like the Highway 71 is really intimate domain, like them motherfuckers can go and take your shit and offer you fair market value, but you got to remember fair market value in the hood is considerably less than it would be in Shawnee Mission.
Exactly.
So you're basically offering people peanuts for their house, and you're tearing them down in all those abandoned houses. And you know what? The city looks at it like, and they'll never say this in public, but I was in a meeting with the Chamber of Commerce, and they showed me this hot map, and it shows the city's revenue and where the tax dollars came from. And guess where the tax dollars? So the places that were abandoned and desolate and motherfuckers wasn't fucking with, you know why? Because that shit was like $0. Like, oh, we ain't getting no taxes from these motherfuckers. They not basically you motherfuckers not contributing. So fuck y'all. We ain't gonna do nothing. Now all the places that working where you see these big blue spikes and shit, oh, they gonna take care of them motherfuckers. Like, oh,
exactly.
You bringing in all the revenue, so we gonna fuck with y'all. The rest of you motherfuckers, fuck y'all. And what they fail to understand is that, you know, from a business standpoint, so if you're in a business and you own an organization, I don't get whatever the fuck it is, you manufacture whatever the fuck it is. When you look at your value chain and then you start thinking about production, people will spend billions and billions of dollars because there's this thing called the theory of constraints or bottleneck theory. And it just really means that if one piece of the puzzle is fucked up, it's costing everybody some time and some money. So we got to make sure that piece of the puzzle ain't fucked up.
Exactly.
And it's funny we can apply that to widgets, but we simply don't apply that to people. And it's that old adage, we are as strong as our weakest link. And for some reason, people don't really understand that. And so when you hear about companies thinking about Kansas City, and I remember they tried to get Google, and most recently they tried to get another sports team, and motherfuckers was like, we're not coming to Kansas City. Y'all ain't shit.
You said they tried to get who?
Amazon. You remember Amazon? The first they tried to get Amazon to come here.
Oh, okay.
And you know, Amazon was like, who? Kansas City? What the fuck we gonna come there for?
Right.
And so they don't understand that helping the population that they help create benefits everybody. They just more or less like, you people of color and you poor, so fuck y'all. Right?
But it's always been like that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's been like that in Kansas City, but it's been like that in America from its inception. That's how all the ones that are the affluent families in America now became that. The same way you was just talking about how the quote unquote fair market value, you know, when it's only fair market value in more affluent neighborhoods and not fair market value in the hood, like how this affordable housing is not necessarily affordable to the demographic that's down there right now. I call them robber barons. That's what they always been. That's what they always gonna be. That's how Rockefeller became Rockefeller. That's how J.P. Morgan became Morgan. You know what I'm saying? That's how they did what they did. They were robber barons.
I know, and I agree. If you want to go back, Carnegie,
Rockefeller almost bankrupted Carnegie.
Yeah, like these people, they had a substantial amount of wealth, and if you look at it now about how they built their empires, I mean, they built it on the backs of people, and they had no qualms about that shit. Like
none.
Like we don't really care how you feel, and you know, and it becomes one of those things to where, you know, most often or not, people perpetuate the status quo, right? Because honestly, I'll tell you this, and people don't know this. A lot of the shit that got bought up on Truce, and you see those changes on Truce, including that stupid ass micro hotel. That's a group out of Denver, right? And so I know who these people are and shit. And they wanted to turn the whole thing into what's called College Row, right across from Rockhurst. They wanted to build a fucking hotel and just all kind of shit. And I remember I was in a meeting one time and I said, do y'all even talk to the people who live in the area? And they like, nah, Johnny, for what?
Why would we do that?
Yeah, the type fuck niggas is y'all. Like, and
they don't care.
They don't care. And more, you know why they don't care? Because they figure you powerless. What is it that you're going to do to us that's going to stop it? Exactly. And as long as, and this is something that I'll speak on people of color, as long as we are divided amongst ourselves, they going to keep doing that shit. Because they don't see us as an opposition to what the fuck they're doing. So when we talk about gentrification and somebody took a fucking house on 50-something in Truce and turned it into a $300,000 house, or they done completely took over the Crossroads and they're expanding the 31st right there by Ruby Jeans, and Chris is a black dude, you know, and they're expanding. They're going to continue their outward expansion and push us somewhere else. But they look at it as, man, you motherfuckers fighting among y'all. We gonna continue to do what the fuck we do because there's no opposition to what we do.
Y'all too busy fighting each other to fight us.
Yeah, as long as there's no opposition, then what the fuck? Why wouldn't we do it? Because in the end, our main objective, any organization or any company, you are beholden to your fucking shareholders, and your shareholders are beholden to the fucking bottom line. Is it gonna make us some money? Yup. Okay, then do that shit.
That's all they care about.
Money, then don't do that shit. All that old people of color and you fucking up the neighborhoods and nobody give a fuck about that, We care because it's our neighborhood. They don't give a fuck. All they see is dollar sign. Could you imagine? Hey, if they continue, first of all, if the plans go, could you imagine if they move the stadiums and all that shit to downtown? Once this coronavirus shit is up, the hotels that they can build, the
Man,
housing that they can build. Oh God,
boy,
look at the
the
view.
people that they can kick out.
Yeah, like look at the dollar. You know how you watch the cartoons and the motherfuckers' eyes turn into them dollar signs? That's how the niggas. Imagine the money we can make.
Exactly.
But what about the people? Man, fuck the people. But again, when you look at what happened on the west with the people over there by the plaza in Brookside when the highway was gonna come through there, them motherfuckers was like, nah, fuck that. We'll fight you tooth and nail till you move this shit until we get like that. They gonna keep doing this shit because they can. That's the bottom line. They can.
They gonna do it because they can, and they gonna keep doing it because they can. All right.
Yeah.
So check this out. So this is kind of my last question. Give me what are you doing? Nah, I don't really even want to ask you that. Give me a notorious business opinion that you've given somebody. Give me what your notorious business opinion. What an opinion about somebody else's business, an opinion about a business that you patronize, something like that. What has been your notorious opinion about somebody else's business, or a notorious opinion you've given to somebody else about
Fuck
business?
this business.
Fuck your feelings, it's business.
Yeah, a lot of people, man, they getting their feelings. They think somehow this is a personal motherfucking relationship, and that's cool. Nah, this is business, homie. This ain't fuck your feelings and how you feel about some shit and oh you hurt my man. Get the fuck out of here. This is business. That's it. Now we can have a personal relationship outside of the business, but other than that, fuck your feelings, bro. Like, what are you talking about? And I've had to do things. I've had to do things that other people looked at. Like I told some motherfuckers in my first business, they was like, "You fired your mama?" And I said, "Listen, why you all in your feelings? First of all, fuck your feelings. Now, if you want me to explain to you what happened, I will. But all this getting emotional because I fired my mother, like that's I can't run a business based on people's fucking emotions. If I did, I'd go out of business tomorrow and shit. My mother, I hired my mother, and I have contracts with all these companies, and she would come to work for me and be like, "I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that." I said, "Mama, what you gonna do then?" "I'm gonna do what I want to do because I'm your mama." And I had a family, I had kids, car payments, rent, and all that. I was like, I said, "But I've seen you work for I've seen you work for the white man, and you go all out 110%. Now you working for me, you like, I ain't doing this." I said, "Mom, but it's in the contract. I don't care about your contract." For real, huh? So I had to let you go. And some people felt some kind of way. "Man, you fired your own mama." Listen, man, fuck your feelings. This is business. I love my mama to death. I wouldn't trade it for the world. But I gotta feed my son. My son was like 1 year old. I gotta pay my rent. I gotta do I can't not do these things because my mama chose not to do some shit that she would have did for somebody else.
Right. So, and that's the key thing right there. You know, if you would have done, see, that's kind of how I feel right now. Like, jobs that I do now, I didn't get paid to do this same thing before. You know what I'm saying? Jobs that I've made 15 some odd dollars an hour to do out here, I was doing elsewhere for 29.40 a month. You dig? So I get it. I definitely get it.
Yeah, and other businesses that I have an opinion at, I just tell them simply straight out, that's nice. You gonna fucking fail, but keep at it. And people get mad at me for saying that shit, like, oh, you a hater, you this, you that. Motherfucker, I'm not hating on you. I hope you successful, but here's the thing. To be successful, there's certain shit that you got to do. There's no shortcuts to success. If there was, everybody be taking a fucking shortcut and they'd be
And
successful.
everybody be
Everybody
successful.
could be a fucking billionaire. Everybody would be one. That's
Right.
just bullshit. And so, unless you do the grunt and the groundwork, that shit, you cannot finesse your way through a fucking bit. Like, that shit just doesn't work.
It
And so,
doesn't.
when I tell you that shit gonna fail, that I'm not telling you that because I'm hating on you or I got some kind of feelings about other people or this, that, and the other. I'm telling you because, first of all, I've owned 5 fucking companies. I have 3 business degrees, and in 1 year, this company that I own now went from $200 to $15,000 a month in revenue. So, and this year we'll probably go from 15,000 to 30,000 a month, or 40,000, or whatever the fuck that case may be.
And I
And
can
so,
attest to it because I seen it somewhere in the middle around the
yeah,
between $7,000 to $9,000
yeah,
aspect.
yeah.
Yeah,
And so I'm like, I'm not telling you this to be hateful. I'm telling you, you're not doing the proper due diligence to run an organization. I'll ask a motherfucker why. You selling shit like, so how come your retail license ain't hanging up? What retail license? So you selling products in the state of Missouri with no retail. You realize that's illegal, my nigga. I mean, are they gonna catch me? Is that your first thought? Like they gonna catch you? First of all, by not having a lot, it ain't even about them catching you. Like that's a secondary thing. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. You fucking yourself because any manufacturer who gonna sell you some shit at some wholesale prices, it's like selling dope. The first thing they gonna, you buy it wholesale, you sell it retail. You don't buy it retail and sell it retail. What the fuck is wrong?
exactly.
In order to buy wholesale in America, nigga, you need a business license and a retail license. So basically, what you doing is selling shit at a retail price, hoping to make some money. How the fuck can you make money if you buying some shit for $10 and selling it for $10? How the fuck you making some money? That don't even make sense. But I'm a hater. Get the fuck out of here. I'm trying to tell you, do your due diligence. You ain't got your LLC right. You ain't got no EIN. You ain't went and got you a business banking account. You want to talk about trade accounts? Oh, you ain't go get you no trade accounts. You can't buy shit on Net 30. You ain't got no business credit. Like you got to do some of these things
You
because
have to.
I've never met a motherfucker unless you started off rich. You gonna need some other capital.
Trump.
And so unless you do some of these other things, you're not finna get that shit. So I'm telling you, if you ain't doing this shit, you won't fail. Fuck you want me to say.
All right,
And
so check this out. Tell me something that you want to let the people know. Matter of fact, tell people what you want them to know about Scope real quick.
second
What's
chance
up? What we got going on? What we got going on with Scope?
second chance organized people in power. Nothing really focusing on this voting, uh, voting for people. Uh, really be partying up with More Square, getting this task force so we can affect real change. Because at some point we've got to start changing the laws out here. I looked this up, did some research. They said there's 41,000 collateral consequences for people who have a felony conviction. I didn't say 41. I didn't say 4,100. I said 41,000. There's
41,000.
41,000 collateral consequences for people who have a felony conviction, and most
for
of them,
each person, or like for like it's 41,000 for all of the two
for
some odd
everybody.
million.
Yeah. Across the nation.
Mm-hmm.
Across the nation, which is still substantial. I mean, when you start to
Right.
think about it, it's a substantial amount, and 60 to 70% of them don't mean shit. Like they're just stupid. Like I'll give you an example. In Missouri, if you got a felony conviction, you can't sell lottery tickets. Like they have to report you, and so you're not supposed to work anywhere who sells lottery tickets. So if you need a job in Quick Trip or the local Conoco or whoever gonna hire you, so you start getting on your feet, and they selling lottery tickets, you mean to tell me you can't work there? The fuck kind of stupid shit is that? What we gonna do? Like have
Exactly.
this lottery ring out the back of the motherfucking Quick Trip, like selling
Right.
like big ass lottery tickets? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, so some of the laws, they need to be changed, and they're not gonna. Again, when we talk about gentrification, when we talk about collateral consequences of felony convictions, when we talk about lack of education, unless we come together and say, hey, you're not finna do this shit to us, then they just gonna keep doing it to us. And so that's the essence of scope, to build an army of people to go out here and say, hey man, you can't keep doing this shit to us. To say, hey man, you can't come in our neighborhoods and buy our houses and price us the fuck out, or hope that we can't pay our fucking taxes, and then you auction and kick us the fuck out of here so you can turn this into condominiums or whatever the fuck else you think that you're gonna do so you can make some money. We gonna stand together, and you're not finna do this shit. And until we do that, they're gonna continue to do it. And we're gonna continue that 41,000. If we don't do something about it, it's gonna be 42,000. And then that same thing that I wrote for people, 83,000 people in the state of Kansas and Missouri could not vote in the last election. Motherfucker, we can't vote. We can't do it. We can't vote. Motherfucker don't want us to have a job. We can't live by you. What the fuck? What the fuck is we supposed to do?
Right.
Like, and you have this expectation that we shouldn't go back to prison. Man, what the fuck is wrong with y'all?
Right.
We have very limited options on what's available to us. And it's funny. And I've been telling people for the last week since I read this report, that Donald Trump report that came out last year from the Department of Civil Rights, which is a federal department, when he said, "Hey, let's study the collateral consequences to people who have felony convictions, and you come back and you tell me what it is." And his own administration, like, "Hey, listen, sir." Yeah, most of the collateral consequences for people who have a felony conviction are unrelated to their felony, like have nothing to do with what the fuck they went to prison for. More importantly, it causes harm to public safety and overall public good. Now, mind you, I said the Trump administration wrote this. That lets you know, like, shit fucked up. Like, oh, it's all bad. If the Trump administration gonna write some shit like, yeah, we are actually doing the opposite of what we getting out here telling people. Like, people saying, we're doing this for the public good and for public safety. And here you got a Republican administration who's wrote a report that says, no, you're actually causing harm. That's what you're doing. You're not helping, and you're not keeping people safe. You're actually causing fuck. And it ain't even, and it's funny, they released this long ass study and nobody's even heard. I tell people about this shit, they'd be like, I ain't hear about that. That wasn't on the news. I'm sure the fuck it wasn't. Could you imagine all the people who built their career? I'm tough on crime, and we need to be safe, and we need to do, and this, that, and the other. And here's a report that's saying you motherfuckers is doing the exact opposite. Yeah, don't nobody want to read that. They don't want that shit on the news.
Right.
But it's out there. Just like the Department of Justice special report, when they did a study over 9 years, it said 86% of people who get a felony conviction go back to prison. So they'll tell you that whole 50, it's 53%, it's 48 here. No, motherfucker, it's like 84%. That means you got a 16% chance of staying the fuck out of prison for a decade. So if you couple all these reports about what really going on out here, then it's all fucked up. And so I say, to combat that, since this is the topic of the show, we find freedom in entrepreneurialism, right? So the essence of combating some of this and having people come out and doing some of these things is that we develop our own resources. So imagine if you started a company and instead of the white people out of Denver coming up and buying all that land on truce, it was actually somebody from Kansas City who developed the company
Right.
and bought that land on truce.
Right.
Imagine what that would look like. Imagine if we could buy our own cars, if we could shop at our own stores. We wouldn't have to beg a Whole Foods or a Price Chopper Constantino's to come in. We'd build our own grocery store.
If we had our own bank, if we ran our own schools, if we had our own grocery store, if you know the things that you need to have a thriving community.
Right. And so entrepreneurialism is something that we as people of color should strive for, simply because it allows us the financial freedom and the resources to effect the change that we really need to see in our community. Because most people, once white people are more prescriptive, I was sitting with a very rich person who owns a construction company, and people could put two and two together, and he's Johnny, people just can't pull themselves up from the bootstraps. What the fuck you say? What? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And
Right.
so that's one of the things. But again, when you start thinking about building generational wealth, something that we don't, because normally people have this joke, and it's not really funny when you think about it. When black people die, what they gonna leave their family? Motherfucking bills, nigga, bills. That's just not funny.
No.
You should be leaving a house, a business, again,
Assets.
assets. Sam Walton died, and all of his people are now like 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th on the billionaires list. He dead. He gone.
Dead.
He gone. But that shit.
It was some of his people that helped to build it to what it is today, though. You know what I mean?
One, the rest of them just got off of him.
All right, it was just him.
It literally was just him.
It was just him.
And so when we start thinking about, again, Sam Woolworth, Walton, Ford, and all these motherfuckers who, when you say self-made, these motherfuckers was literally self-made. They wasn't a Jeff Bezos self-made. Let me go borrow $250,000 and start a business. They was like, I hustled up this, that, and the other, and I prayed to God that shit worked, and it did. And now look at them. And that's the thing that we need to start doing. And we need to support each other. Like, I'm here for every person who ever wants to open a business. I will provide you as much guidance and education that I have, because I want to see all of my people successful. I wouldn't bought a tablet the other day and shit, and spent like $400 at Best Buy. Why couldn't I go to like Homeboy's electronics store, whatever the fuck it is, and buy that same motherfucker? I would have rather gave my money to him.
Right.
Right. Instead, I got to give it to this big box person who's run by white people and this, that, and the other. And if you look at the Fortune 500, if you look at the top 500, the Fortune 500 list that comes out every year, there's only 3 black people on it. And that should disgust people. Three. Nigga, 1, 2, 3.
Now, so tell me this. Tell me about the J Store, and is the J Store gonna get you on that list one of these days?
So, yes, the J Store Online. For anybody listening, you can visit me at www.thejstoreonline.com. You can, and as much shit as I'm talking about Walmart, I do sell products in Walmart, Amazon, Etsy, or whatever. And yeah, so my hope is to be the largest supplier of jewelry and jewelry related products in the United States, right? And so hopefully one day I'll be on one of those lists. And really what I want to do is buy a warehouse, and I'm gonna give people the whole game plan, because I really if somebody take it and do it before me, that's cool. Whatever. Good luck to you. Fucking call me when you do it and just be like, "Hey Jay, I took your shit and I ran with that shit and that shit worked out."
That shit worked.
Yeah, and so I want to open a third party logistic company because people like Amazon and all these people are getting rich off that shit. So I want to do that shit myself, employ people, and then I'm not a greedy motherfucker. So I want to take some of the money that I make and hire people to go out in these neighborhoods and into the community and affect real change. And not on that rich white people. I changed my mind. Like, oh, I want to help fellas. I changed my mind. I want to help these people. Nah, not this year. Like, I don't want to do that. I want to create some shit that creates sustainable wealth, and at the same time, hold entrepreneurial like Shark Tanks and give away money and help other people create businesses that become sustainable and watch them grow. And my hope is that at some point, one of those people out fucking does me. Like, Jay was cool. I learned a lot from him, but I've surpassed him and this, that, and the other. And I'll be the first motherfucker at the shovel digging to build your new complex or whatever the fuck it is that you're gonna do. And I will congratulate the shit out of you. Like, good job, because we need that shit. There's no black magical dude riding around the hood trying to fix that shit with a trunk full of money. That's not happening. So
Right.
we've got to do our own due diligence. And so, yeah, the J store is my way of saying, it's my way of saying, you know, I see how successful these other people is. I'm gonna be just as successful, and I'm gonna give, Warren Buffett he's giving away $38 billion so far. I want to give $38 billion to my own fucking community.
Straight up. Now, here's the thing that we're gonna do though. So you handle the the logistics as far as the merchandising and whatnot, but we're gonna put that show you was talking about under breakout. That the show, so um there was slated to be a few more entrepreneurs on here tonight. Uh for one reason or another, they were unable to attend. But there's I personally know a lot of entrepreneurs, right? Guys that uh, are pulling themselves up from the muck and the mire without no assistance, no help. They just they got a grind, they got determination, they motivated, by whatever. They motivated by fear of not wanting to go back to where they were. They're motivated by uh fear of not being able to take care of their family, and so that fear is driving them, So because there is a such thing as a healthy fear. Fear is in there for a reason, you know. It's survival, So uh now, as far as Breakout Media Group is my company, and the goal is to produce multimedia things. So I'm in film school right now. I'm trying to learn all of the ins and outs of my craft to where I will start. I'm talking about I'll shoot anything from a music video to documentaries to commercials for your business. If you got a small business that you're trying to get a commercial shot for, I'm gonna be able to shoot that. I'll be able to take pictures at your wedding. Whatever it is, media wise, that can have that can have a lens put on it. Those are some of the things that I'm going to be doing, and it's going to be merchandise with my retail plaque sitting right there. Because I'm selling t-shirts, hats. Matter of fact, I gotta tell you, probably not tonight, but tomorrow I'm gonna tell you my invention idea, if I haven't already told you. But so these are things that's going on with Breakout Media Group. I'm very excited. It is my first business, and so I'm super excited about it and the places that it can go. And it's just gonna the thing about owning your own business is it has to be something that you enjoy doing, or else that's another way that it can flop. Because if you don't like doing what you see, I don't like working for nobody else. So that's why I'm always disgruntled. You dig? But I'm
Yeah.
doing what I want to do with Breakout Media, and so that's not nothing I'm ever gonna let flop because I love doing what I'm doing. I'll do it. Matter of fact, I have done it for free. Like I've been doing this podcast for what, about 5 months. I have made all of $6. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I'm not making no whole lot of money yet, just doing the podcast. You know what I'm saying? I've made all of $6 in 5 months. You know what I'm saying? But I don't do the podcast for money. But like I've said before, uh support small and black businesses. Corona is taking out more than the world and US populations. Is hurting small black businesses, is hurting dreams. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you support small and black businesses, man. Patronize as many small and black businesses as you can, right? And again, please do not forget, seize the moment. Don't just try to seize the day. You know, the day is full of moments. So seize the moment. Do not just seize the day because you might not make it through the whole day. You dig? So for the CEO of Scope, KC, and the J Store, as well as the CEO of Breakout Media Group, we're gonna wrap it here. Everybody have a good evening. Again, happy inauguration day, aka happy last day of Trump Day. And and we're gonna catch y'all next Monday on Notoriously Opinionated. Make sure you check out all of the platforms. Notoriously Opinionated on YouTube. Check out Airs of Human Activity on Spotify. Check out Airs of Activity every Monday and Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. as well as AM Opinionated every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock a.m. Right? It's been your man. Peace. We
Peace.
out.